Come on in here. Come on in here. Come on in here. Come on in here. Yes, yes, yes. Come on, come on. We talking about why knowing yourself is important. I'll let y'all fill in, because knowing yourself fixes a lot of different challenges. Come on in the chat room. What's up, American Negro? Yeah. And of course, this is gonna be Q&A style. I'll be listening to what y'all asking and talking about. And we're gonna be talking about that shit too. What's up, Quan? What's up, Tony? And y'all, guarantee y'all tonight, as we get closer to the 4th of July, you will hear a lot of fireworks. These hoes is gonna sound like bombs going off. It's about to sound like we in LA. This is the last week before the 4th of July. It's cool though because the police did clean this shit up. Because before that coronavirus hit, like when that coronavirus hit, you can tell they changed a lot of shit. Well, before that coronavirus hit, like every 4th of July, usually it got cracking sounding like Iraq about mid-May. May 15th, May 20th, that's usually because, we right by Mexico. It's like they go down to Mexico for Cinco de Mayo and come back with truckfuls of goddamn fireworks. And shit that sound like goddamn bombs. But they ain't been having those lately, the last couple of years, that shit didn't start coming around until like the last 2 or 3 weeks before 4th of July. Which I am not tripping on because that shit used to happen in May. It'd be like May through July 10th. Fireworks season here in LA. I gotta go back and watch 5150. I didn't see it. I forgot 5150 was. I've been so busy, y'all. I've been busy as fuck. I ain't been getting my shows as regularly. Craig Facts got canceled today because of some technical issues with the people, so I didn't get to go out. And I was mad too because I was at the studio when I found out. I'm like, God damn, I done drove way the fuck up here. It wasn't Craig's fault. It was shit beyond Craig's control. Well, more so with the studio than Craig. So, what's up, Breezer Maker? Yeah, 5150 for me, that's usually Wednesday morning. I may check in on it Tuesday night, but usually after Craig Facts, I'm back home and I'm back to working. Then when I'm done working, I'm talking to y'all. So I just got through working on some shit. Man, I was thinking about this shit. This is why knowing yourself is important, y'all. In the last 6 months, I done got IncenseandAshtrays.com up, the Hotepish shop up, nigga. I done, the YouTube is done well. I done wrote a book. I got my sample packs dropping, and I rebranded my company Breakthrough Services, Breakthrough Advocacy. Nigga, in the last 6 months, I've gotten so much shit. That's why I be so chill when you get all of these people trying to tell other people what they need to do. Especially like, y'all ever watch these conscious channels? And I got a few conscious channels that I watch, and you'll get these guests that come on from time to time, and I ain't gonna mention no names, because I think these people at the end of the day, most of them heart is right. If I feel their heart ain't right, I don't listen to them past 5 minutes. So I can't tell you what people say who I don't think their heart is right. Because if I feel somebody's heart is right, I just go to the next YouTube show. But them conscious niggas be like, the only way you gonna vibrate at a high frequency is if you take my monatomic gold, then you get yourself some colloidal silver, and then you're gonna have to make sure you get yourself some some peppermint drops so your breath don't stink, and then you gotta make sure you eat an all vegan diet, and then twice a week you don't eat at all. You just breathe the air, and the air is what feeds you. That's the only way that you're gonna get downloads from the universe. You gotta pick your afro out and wear this funny looking ass this funny ass looking garment, looking like a goddamn choir director, and it's the only way you're gonna be productive. Cause if you're eating the white man's meat, I didn't mean to. I don't even use the word pause, but that shit did come out real funny. Pause. I don't even like saying pause. I kind of fucked that one up. Don't strike that last thing I said. They say more so, if you eat the white man's processed meat and food, then you're not getting the real thing. You got these people, man, they fat and they can't get nothing done. See, you gotta be as skinny as a pinky finger, and you gotta drink water, but you can't just drink spring water. You gotta drink 2/3 spring water and 1/3 alkaline water. And on the 5th day, you must eat some lemons, and then eat nothing but cherries on Tuesday. Tuesday is cherry day, and if you do that, you will get downloads from the universe, my brother. I'll be like, man, match my schedule with your vegan ass, and let's find out who really doing it. And I'm not here to say that look, I'm telling you right now, I'm not always gonna be big. At some point, I'll decide to lose weight. And when I make that decision, it'll be gone. That's all it takes is a decision. But right now, that's not a priority of mine. I go to the doctor, all my vitals are good, then I'm good. When I had my surgery this past November, everything was good, on the up and up. I was like, cool. But it's always been this way. I don't know. That's why you gotta know yourself. Because when you know yourself, you know your boundaries and you know what you can and can't do. If you're going around letting other people tell you what's right, what you should do, how you should be, you're never gonna experience life for yourself. Because at the end of the day, you are here to live life for your experiences. And whatever experiences you go through, good or bad, only thing that matters is, did you learn the lesson? What did you get out of it? That's all that matters. You're right, plebiscite battle. This is Smoke Spitter said, as long as you can wipe yourself. This nigga Smoke Spitter be in random chat rooms I be watching sometimes. This nigga be killing me sometimes. Like, but but it was like that when I hooped. When I played basketball, it was almost like people didn't want to believe what they were seeing. Like they never saw a dude that was 340 pounds, 330 pounds, play basketball 3 to 5 hours a day and not get tired. Was never faster than anybody, but my footwork was so goddamn lethal and my jump shot was so lethal, you couldn't stop what the fuck I was doing. And people would always be like, see, if you just, and they would just be looking like, damn, what the fuck? It would just weird people out. Now, I'm telling y'all right now, I can't hoop no more. I'm 41 now. I'm 41, shit. I can't hoop no more. I had my knee surgery when I was 32, my second knee surgery. When I had that second knee surgery, man, I tried to hoop 2 or 3 times, and I realized in order for me to get back into the shape I need to hoop like I used to, I am not willing to put in that kind of work. I'm retired. I'm retired. Yeah, mental strength. Like I said, my wife used to always laugh at me because she'd be like, when I would come on from hooping, she'd be like, nigga, you really think you skinny? This is back when we were dating, right? Like, this is how hoop came to an end for me. Going back to knowing yourself. Because I'm gonna tie all this in as we keep going. Because I'm gonna answer some of y'all questions, but it's a few different angles I want to attack when it comes to knowing yourself. How I ended up when I stopped hooping, I used to hoop all the time, and then one day I came home from hooping and my knee was hurting. My knee was in pain for like a year. Now this is where being a fat nigga fucked me up. The reason why my knee went out is because I was 350, 340 pounds playing basketball 5 days a week, 3 to 5 hours a day. Well, by the time I got to my 30s, I was like 4 days a week. I would definitely play Saturday and Sunday. Usually Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Sunday. I was out there hooping, and sometimes Monday. But hooping like that so regularly, my knee started to tear slowly. But I'm very strong mentally, and mind you, I'm a Kobe fan. So this is back in like the mid 2000s when Kobe was still hooping, and I kind of like I'm like, man, shit, my knee just hurting. Mamba mentality. Instead of my dumb ass going to get an X-ray or a fucking MRI, and mind you, I already had a knee surgery before from football back in '99. I had a football knee surgery on my left knee. So now I'm on my right knee. This shit hurting. Man, my dumb ass, like, man, it's just a little bit. So I'm over here hooping I'm street balling and playing in the gyms around LA on a torn knee, but blocking it out. Like when I'm done hooping, I'm limping. I could barely walk, nigga. But then the minute I would step on the court at Venice Beach, Westchester Park, wherever, the minute I stepped on the court and that ball was up in the air, I blocked out everything. I didn't feel it. Like I would not feel my knee. I would just hoop. Now after the game was over with, I'd be limping for like 2 days. And then so one day, I'm chilling with my girlfriend at the time, my wife now, and the inside of my knee just turned red. Nigga, I looked down at my knee. This shit was like cherry red, purple, and it just started spreading. I ended up getting like a fuck ton of blood, like a blood vessel busted when I tore my knee. And I just had a purple ass knee. And then they were like, oh yeah, you need surgery. You have a torn patellar tendon. I was like, when did I tear this shit? They're like, well, based on the progress of it, it looks like it's been torn for a while. Like, have you been feeling knee pain? I said, yeah, it started about a year ago. He said, well, that's probably when it happened. I was like, oh, shit. Nigga. I went to go get surgery. This is the one thing I give Obama credit for. That Obamacare, I give him credit for that. Because before Obamacare, nigga, I had my own company. I had my own private insurance. I went to go get surgery, and then the day before my surgery, these motherfuckers was like, oh, you have asthma. Mind you, I hadn't used an asthma pump in like 5 years. I stopped really being affected by asthma, like, lower than that. Like, I stopped being affected by asthma like in high school. Them niggas used that to drop me from my insurance. So I walked around on a torn knee for 5 years. And I couldn't hoop, couldn't ride my bike, couldn't do shit for 5 years. No insurance. Then when I finally got my insurance, I had surgery. And then my first time back hooping after surgery, this nigga Larry was following me like I was Shaq. I wanted to beat the dog shit out of Larry. I'm posting this nigga up. This nigga was hacking the fuck out of me. I'm like, nigga, I just had surgery 6 weeks ago, man. He like, man, you bring your fat ass on the court with me, I'm fouling. He was fouling, nigga, because I'm fat and quick. Larry tell y'all that story. I think Larry told y'all that story. Cleaning the county. I went about the county. See my situation. I could still walk on my knee, so I wasn't like it wasn't like I was immobile. I could still walk on my knee. I just couldn't hoop on my knee or do anything athletic. I couldn't ride a bike. I couldn't do squats. Nigga, I went from leg pressing damn near 1,000 pounds to, nigga, I can't push shit with my legs. But I didn't use them for like 5 years. As long as I didn't really bend my knee too much, I was good. Man, I had that surgery. I tried to hoop with Larry. Larry was fouling the fuck out of me. And then I hooped one more time, and I was like with Craig, Brent, a lot of them all deaf niggas that y'all know. Teddy was up there, but Teddy wasn't hooping. He was just on the sideline talking shit. It was like Teddy and Camiro on the sideline talking shit. It was like me, Brett, Larry. We were all hooping, and a few other people. And that was like the last time I seriously played basketball. That was like the last time I played. Yep, quick with the jump shot. That was it. Wasn't fast, but I was quick. Well, I never have been what people perceive a fat nigga to be. And for a long time, it used to bother me that people would always put me in a category because of their perceptions. Do you know why that bothered me? I didn't know myself. You gotta know yourself. Because I'm pretty sure there's certain things that you guys have. There's certain things about you that other people don't understand. And they tell you you shouldn't be that way. And these may be some of the closest people to you, your parents, your siblings, some friends of yours. I know y'all got people out there that be telling y'all to be something that you inherently know you not. But when you look at the world with your two eyes, you kind of see everybody fitting in that certain box. But when you see it with your third eye, you know that you don't belong in that box, but you'll conform. Don't conform. You give up your power when you conform, people. Now, if it's something about you that ain't working, that you think you different, but that different thing about you is making you not be functional in society, like if you're on some Lauryn Hill shit talking about I don't have to get to work until 3 hours later until I feel the energy of the moment. Nah, nigga, that shit ain't gonna work for you, motherfucker. You work at the grocery store, nigga, get there on time. I ain't talking about that bullshit. But I'm talking about ways that you get down and things about you that are unconventional to other people. When people see that, they'll try to pull you back into their box. Because the way you get down creates a cognitive dissonance in their mind. So instead of them dealing with their cognitive dissonance, they'll try to pull you back into what they perceive you should be. And most people, including me for a lot of my life, I ain't preaching. I'm really speaking to a lot of you people in y'all 20s and 30s. Because this is a lot of times what your 20s and 30s are about. Defining yourself. And at some point, you got to sit down, make a decision, and define yourself for who you are. And know you are. And stand 10 toes down in that. You know? Quan say your ex? Yeah. Yeah, stay in your lane. That's facts, Breeze. Stay in your lane. Like, sometimes stay in your lane, people don't understand what that means. People take that as an insult. No, stay in your lane is not an insult. Stay in your lane is where you need to be. Don't be insulted. But first, you got to find out what your lane is. You spend a lot of your 20s figuring that out. You spend a lot of your 20s figuring that out. And then your 30s, too, is when you start to refine it. And I'm talking about like when you're on the right path. See, some people, remember this, aging isn't optional. You're going to age. But maturity and growth, that is optional. You don't have to grow, you don't have to mature. There's some people who mentally, they're the same person they was when they were 15. Some people mentally, especially if they had a trauma that happened, it's a very, very traumatic event, lost someone special to them at a certain point, or had a traumatic event, violent event or something that happened, oftentimes they get stuck at that age that event happened, and they don't get past that event. Have a baby with a chick that you didn't want to have, and now you mad, and you stuck in the trauma and you a dude, you done got the wrong chick pregnant, and instead of you moving on and dealing with the present, you want to sit around and stay stuck on where you fucked up, and then you loop and you loop and you loop. Now you 45 years old. You made that mistake at 27, but you still stuck there. You ain't grown an inch since. That can happen to us. And if that's happening to you, I ain't here to judge. I'm just here to say, you got to fix that. And there's ways to fix that. You got to fix that, though. You got to fix that. You can't just let, because a heartbreak happened or something happened to you that was traumatic, you can't allow that to define your life. You got to remember that you are not your experiences. I say that all the time, and I'm going to keep saying it. You are not your experiences. Your experiences are journeys you went through to learn lessons. Like, are you the math problem that made you get a B in class instead of an A? That math problem that you couldn't solve that lowered your GPA from an A to a B? Are you that problem? Or is that just a problem that you didn't get that time around? If you look at it that way, you see that you ain't your problems. Your problems and your challenges are there to help you grow to the next level. And that's something that when I do my readings and whenever I do my Cardology readings, that's something I'll go over people with. The challenges. One part that's a part of our readings is dealing with your challenges. Because challenges are just opportunities to grow. And when you have a challenge, that means there's a reward on the other end. And the bigger the challenge, the bigger the reward. So if I'm reading someone's cards, just say you're a 9 of diamonds. If you're a 9 of diamonds, I'm already knowing you're going to have a lot of challenges in your life. Because 9 is a tough number to deal with. Same thing with birthdays. If your birthday adds up to a 9, if your birthday is the 18th, that's a 9. Your birthday is the 9th, the 18th, the 27th. You're going to deal with a certain level of challenges because those 9s are the culmination of every number that comes below them. And 9 deals with completion. And completing a task, everybody starts a task. Think about it. We've all started a whole bunch of shit we didn't complete. The hardest thing there is to do is to complete a task, and oftentimes. So if you're a 9 of diamonds, I'm knowing the diamond is the card of shine, but it's also the card of pressure. It takes a lot of pressure to become a diamond. If you're a 9 of hearts, I'm knowing that emotional challenges are going to be big for you because the hearts are, when I'm doing a reading of somebody, and I see that they have a 9 of hearts, I'm already knowing, okay, you're going to have a lot of emotional challenges. And then I can go right in and I'll talk to them. I wish I could play. I keep everything in my Cardology sessions private. I don't ever talk about client information. But it's very regular for grown-ass men to cry and women to cry in my sessions because I go right to their problems every time. Every time. But the thing with going right to those problems is once you identify the problems, you can fix them. The reason why we oftentimes don't fix our problems is because most of the time is because, like, no matter how hard we don't properly identify the problem. How can you fix something you don't identify? Going back to everybody having their own personality and you needing to know yourself. You got to know yourself. I know if you're a 7 of hearts, you're somebody. 7 is a spiritual number, but that 7 of hearts, those people are. If you're dealing with a 7 of hearts person, you're dealing with somebody who's either going to let their emotions control them or they're going to be in complete control of their emotions. Usually their emotions control them. But going back to what I was saying about like the 9s and things like that, that's going back to dealing with struggle. But the bigger your struggle, the bigger the reward. Like, the hardest thing to do is to go get a PhD. But once you go get a PhD, well, that's the hardest thing to do. The hardest thing to do as far as school goes is to get a PhD. It's not the hardest thing to do, but that's the hardest thing to do as far as school goes. But if you go through that hardship of getting a PhD, what's the reward? You now get called doctor the rest of your life. You now have a base level of pay that you're going to get paid the rest of your life. You now have a certain level of honor and prestige within society that you'll have the rest of your life. The bigger the challenge, the bigger the reward. The problem is this. When we have these big challenges, oftentimes when you get them big challenges, the first few times you get them, especially in your 20s and your 30s, you're probably going to fail those motherfucking challenges, right? You dig what I'm saying? You probably going, and you probably not going, it's not going to end the way you wanted it to, I should say. I can't say fail, because you only fail if you give up. But the first few times you face these obstacles, the result most likely won't turn out the way you intended it to. But if you keep at it and you keep at it and you keep at it, you're going to win that motherfucker. And the reward for you for that winning is going to be huge. Whether it be psychically, most of the time it's tangibly, but the reward is going to come for you in the area that you need it the most. Put it like that. I read some people's cards. Like if I read the 10 of clubs, I'm already knowing they got money. People who are 10 of clubs, a 10 of clubs person has the level of money they want. The only reason why they're not rich is because they don't really have a desire to be rich. But if I run across a 10 of clubs, I'm already knowing I'm running across somebody that don't deal with money challenges. They challenges are more so going to be emotional in dealing with the people around them. Some people's challenges is getting money, and they're great with people. Like, they get along with people well. They have no issues with people, but they struggle getting money. Usually them 2 of hearts people are like that. But there's other people who get money and a thing, but they struggle socially. That's why it's so important that you know yourself. Ace of Diamonds. Yeah, Ace of Diamonds is it's a lot of challenges in the Ace of Diamonds card. Because an ace can be either extremely immature or extremely extra mature. Kind of like how ace is in blackjack. An ace can be a 1 or 11 in blackjack. And that's how an ace can be in life. An ace can be somebody who's got it all figured out, or they can be the most unfigure-outable ass motherfucker on earth. The person you got to watch out for the most is the Ace of Spades. Ace of Spades is a very deceptive card. They're very deceptive people. The Ace of Spades show you one thing, but in their subconscious, I can guarantee goddamn to you something different going on than whatever they present to you. Watch out when you run across the Ace of Spades. I don't really know the cards. What's up, Ben Frank? When it comes to the cards, I don't really know a lot of the cards' birthdays off the top of my head. If you give me your birthday, I gotta go look up the fucking card. I'm not that good yet. I know some birthdays, because certain birthdays I deal with more than others. Like I know certain birthdays. And if I know a certain date, I can count down the cards based on that date. Because usually when the card calendar goes is the highest card down. Like my birthday, June 17th, I'm a king of clubs. June 18th is the queen of clubs. June 19th is the jack of clubs. June 20th is the 10 of clubs. And so on and so forth. So when I'm doing cardology, I gotta look up what your fuck your card is now. And once I know your card, I can start breaking you down. And I can help you find your gifts. I can help you find your challenges too. And to anybody that goes around saying that things like cardology is some spookism, some shit, ask them, okay, if it's a spookism, why is the result? Why can I can predict the result of a cardology reading and be right. You talk to anybody who's ever gotten a reading from me, all right, this shit's a science. And it's a science to help you decode yourself. That's really why I learned. I learned to decode myself and also to become better at working with kids and working with families and working with like relationships. The hardest part about doing my relationship coaching business is dealing with people's bullshit. People bullshitting themselves. You give me that birthday and you can't bullshit me from here on out. Oh, it's about to be a loud ass bang. There it is. I just saw that shit flash. Oh yeah, Quan, you fires across the board. Yeah. But it's good. See, Quan knows she's fives across the board. She knows she's the ace of diamonds. She knows herself. And when you know your numbers, when you know you know how to deal with yourself. That's another thing. Like when I know your card, I can tell you what to look out for when you're frustrated, like when you're off yourself. If you don't know yourself, you'll go around feeling certain ways about things and you'll think something wrong with you. No, it's not nothing wrong with you. We all have personalities. And there's a science to figuring out your personality. That science just isn't taught in school. So since white people don't teach it to you in school, people call it a spookism or a cult or whatever. No, this shit's science. And like another thing about the cards is certain cards I know better than other cards because certain cards, you just kind of get in a pattern of reading. I did a reading recently. I did my first reading ever for a Queen of Spades. First time ever I read somebody that was a Queen of Spades. Why? Queen of Spades is only on January 2nd. King of Spades is January 1st. And the Joker is December 31st. I've never read a Joker. I haven't read anyone yet whose birthday is December 31st. I can't wait to read somebody who's a Joker. So what's July 12th? I don't know what July 12th is. I do not know. And I'm on my phone right now, so I can't pull it up. You see, you want to hear that reading? Yeah, hopefully when I do another one of my live readings and somebody calls in with December 31st, that'll be my first time reading a Joker. But I know the Joker is a lot like the King of Spades. And the King of Spades is the most powerful card in the deck. If you're a King of Spades person, you're gonna have a lot of struggle in your childhood. King of Spades people are expected to be adults, and them niggas be only like 8 years old. So because of that, it's oftentimes a lot of struggle and a lot of conflict. They have a lot of early on challenges. But as King of Spades people get older, they live pretty good lives. But they got to go through a lot of bullshit to get there. The card for June 21st, okay, if I count, I'm June 17th, that's King of Spades. I'm King of Clubs. June 18th is Queen of Clubs. June 19th is Jack of Clubs. June 20th is 10 of Clubs. So June 9th is June 21st. Oh, you're 9 of Clubs. That means you struggle. You're someone that has a message to speak, but sometimes you struggle getting it out. People, you know what you're saying, but it's like people don't understand you, especially when you're younger. But as you get older, to your 40s and 50s, you're gonna find that people are gonna start to understand you more. When you're in your 20s, it was almost like you was talking over people's heads. June 24th, okay, so if the 9 of Clubs is June 21st, that means June 22nd is the 8 of Clubs, the 23rd is the 7 of Clubs. That means that the 24th is the 6 of Clubs. 6 of Clubs is somebody, that's a 6, so you're dealing with a very balanced person. You're reasonable. 6 of Clubs, you bring reasonable conversation. If you're around a 6 of Clubs person, they're the person that if it could be a whole bunch of bullshit going on and talking, that 6 of Clubs is somebody who's gonna come around and sort of level out the conversation. Like if everybody's arguing, if it's the 6 Clubs in the room, the 6 of Clubs is gonna be the person that be like, hey everybody, man, calm down. Now, what are you saying? What are you saying? June 6th. I don't know what June 6th is because I think it's a diamond. It's one of the, June 6th is a diamond. Or is it a heart? No, I think it's a diamond. I don't know what June 6th is. I'm thinking 10 of diamonds. I don't know off the top of my head. Bismarck T in the room. Bismarck T works at a farm so he can molest the sheep. Well, E-I-E-I-O ass nigga. With a pump here and a pump there. Here pump, there pump, everywhere pump. Bismarck T has a farm. E-I-E-I-O. Oh yeah, she got 20 years, that Maxwell lady. Yeah. What's up? Yeah, that Maxwell lady, she got 20 years, good. I think that they're about to kill her ass in jail. She's about to be DOA. You see they beat up Eric, Nipsey's killer. He got his ass stomped out in jail. I'm thinking what's taking so long. I'm over here wondering, because that whole thing happened. That whole thing, how he got away and he was just kind of like undercover for like 3 or 4 days before they caught him. And that just stinks to high heaven. It sounds like the police got something to do with that shit. I'm thinking, what was he about to say in court? Why is he conveniently getting his ass? He been in jail this whole goddamn time. This whole time they've been pushing this case off. He been in jail. Ain't nothing happened to him. Right when he about to go say some shit, down he getting stomped out within an inch of his life. What's that about? In a holding cell? Gotta ask yourself these questions. Yeah, she white. But yeah, you gotta ask that, you know? He's been in jail this whole time. I'm sure he may have gotten in a squabble or two. But now when it's time to talk, when it's time to plead his case, and when it's time to hear what the details of what went on, he got his ass stomped to the white meat in the holding cell? Huh? So, I've been saying since day one, this whole Nipsey case stinks to high heaven. Remember here, it was on this channel that I told y'all what I thought about what happened. I did a show 2 years ago now on this channel where I pulled out the Google Maps and I broke down LA and what's going on and how they gentrifying it, how the Bakewell building. See, this is the environment for the whole Nipsey thing. I'm not going to talk about it in too much detail, but just a quick synopsis. I'll never forget, and Larry will tell you if he's ever in the chat room. I told Larry, January 2019, when Nipsey bought that shopping center, I said, he better watch out. Because I know how my city acts when black people make power moves with real estate. So he better watch out. And it's going to be some city shit. And the reason why I said that was because that area is being gentrified. And the Crenshaw and Slauson station, they were just at the time starting to dig ground. And you starting to see shit move one by one. I had been telling my kids I worked with in the jungles that they shit, because when I worked at my last job, I had clients all in that area. Plus, I lived in that area for a long time. Crenshaw and Slauson is what? A mile from where I grew up? I'm past Crenshaw and Slauson 3 or 4 times a day, especially back then. So on Crenshaw, so over there, what I'm seeing happen is in the jungles in 2011. In 2011, the jungles was still the jungles. I remember one day I had a client in the jungles in 2012. In his building, there were 4 people that died that day. The man across from my client, the kid had a heart attack, he died. And then downstairs at about 6 in the morning, one of them drug dealer niggas got shot up. And then later on that day at about 2 o'clock, somebody else was murdered on the corner. And then at 6 o'clock that night, somebody was murdered in front of the apartment building. That's how the Jays was still in 2012. By 2016, 2017, really 2018, nigga, they got a Kaiser Hospital over there now. USC done bought half the jungles. You see USC students walking fucking pugs and French bulldogs and shit. So this is the environment. Mind you, the Jays is about, the jungles is about 2 miles from Crenshaw and Slauson. The jungles is about 2 miles. But I'm seeing the changes. Over by my parents' house, I'm seeing all these white people move in. I'm like, okay, I see what it is. I was seeing this in about, you started to see this creep in 2016. 2015, 2016 is when you really first started to see it. Creeping in. 2015. They shut down Crenshaw for a long time. bringing in that new line. The House of Winston Mortuary almost went out of business. Winston Mortuary is a staple in South Central LA. They were having to do funerals and do the body procession through the alley, because on Crenshaw, right out front, that shit was shut down for like 2 years. I'm seeing what they doing. Nipsey buys this building in this environment. After Nipsey buys the building, Danny Bakewell sold the Crenshaw and Slauson. Y'all know over there where that Ralph's is if you're from LA? Crenshaw and Slauson, on the other side of Crenshaw and Slauson, is that big shopping center with the Popeyes, the Burger King, the Ralph's, the Rite Aid. Well, right after Nipsey got killed, Danny Bakewell, he's that light-skinned Creole-looking nigga that run the LA Sentinel. He the one that do the Taste of LA. Danny Bakewell he's just a dude. If you're from LA, he's a LA Creole ass businessman, and you see his face everywhere. He owns the that building where the Chase Bank is on Vernon and Crenshaw, right across the street from where Tariq wanted to buy the museum. Danny Bakewell is like the one black dude that owns shit on Crenshaw. So the Bakewell group sold Crenshaw, that big ass shopping center, for $29 million. Question. You in the area that's getting gentrified, train line coming in. You know the minute that train line is active, this same piece of property is gonna be worth $100 million. Why would you sell for 29? Think, people. This is a very savvy businessman who found a way to buy to be one of the only black people to have property on Crenshaw and in the Crenshaw district, and to have a successful newspaper publication. This ain't no boo-boo the fool. Why would he sell for $29 million when you know in 2022, the year we're in right now, that same property gonna be worth at least $80 million. And by 2028, that shit gonna be worth $200 million. Why would you sell? Is it because you saw that brother is it because you saw what happened to the dude who didn't? I don't know. I'm just asking a question. He said, does it look like Ronaldo Ray? So, when the whole thing happened with Nipsey, it was like, damn, I saw it coming. And no, I don't think it was no random hood shit. I do know these police departments use hood people to execute whatever happened. But remember this, the nigga that pulled the trigger ain't always the killer. Let me say it again. The nigga that pulled the trigger ain't always the only killer. Some shooters have assignments, and I'm gonna leave it at that. I don't know. I don't have any proof. But I did see that article, and I did a report on that this past December, that article in The Guardian that proved that they had a whole task force dedicated to shutting him down. Once you know that truth, and then you see the political landscape, and now the dude that killed him is getting ready to go to court and testify, and while in the care of the police department, because that's whose care you're in when you're in prison, you're in the care of the police department. He gets beat within an inch of his life when it's time to talk. The killer. What was he gonna say? Gotta ask yourself that question. Yeah, so these are just questions that you gotta ask. Because you gotta remember at the end of the day, we're all just in this big ass play, playing our part. There's a lot going on there's always more going on than what we see. Gotta remember that. That goes back to what we're talking about today, knowing yourself. Gotta know yourself. Because when you know yourself, you'll have a different perspective on how to deal with this reality that we're in. If you don't know yourself, dealing in this reality can be tough. It can be real tough. But if you know yourself, you got a better shot at handling this bullshit. Don't know yourself. What the fuck is y'all talking about Wendy Williams' feats for? Hey, Kirk, are you serious? Tell me you've been comical right now saying he can hire FOI security. Tell me. You know who else had FOI security? Malcolm X. You know who else had former FOI security? Khalid Muhammad. And I know he didn't die of a gunshot wound, Khalid Muhammad. He died the same way Johnny Cochran did. Same way a fair amount of black men died in the early 2000s. Johnny Cochran, Khalid Muhammad ended up with these aneurysms. What the hell is security gonna do for anybody? You think the FOI security can stop the LAPD and their tactics? Not even the LAPD, let's go deeper than that. Depending on who wants you. You think they're just gonna sit around and just come out and just, do you think they'd be sloppy enough? See, they can send someone to shoot Nipsey because they can tell the story, oh, it was some gang stuff, yada, yada, yada. They ain't about to send nobody to shoot no Danny Blakewell. If they wanted to get at him, they have other ways of doing that. And I'm not wishing anything on him. You know, that brother's done a lot of good. He's done a lot. You know, he's a staple in South Central LA. He's a staple. He is a staple. But I know business and I know real estate. You're not about to sell nothing for $29 million when $100 million is just a couple years away. It's not happening. When you have contracts, 30-year-long contracts with Ralph's, like your shopping center is anchored with top-level business, Burger Kings and fucking Popeyes. And no, you sell something like that because you were told to sell something like that. And I'm not even mad. Why should he have to, risk his life to hold on to a piece of property? I ain't mad at him for selling. Shit. Might as well sell. What point would he be proving? All I'm saying is I don't think someone as savvy as him will sell something for $29 million when $100 million is on the table just a couple years away. So wait, 2 years, 3 years, you can get triple. Someone as savvy as him, I'm willing to bet they'll wait unless he was given an offer he can't refuse. And this is just my conjecture. I don't know. I'm just adding 2 plus 2. If you say that's 5, then cool. But I say 2 plus 2 is 4. That's what I say. Now the FOI don't carry guns. What's up, OC girl? If you want to think on such a surface level, then that's fine. But I think on a political level, LA has a rhythm. It's a certain rhythm when black people own property, own big things out here. The racism in LA is different than it is for people down south and other places. They let you own shit down south as long as it's on the black side of town. Here in LA, they don't want you owning shit on the black side of town. No sirree. And when you do own it, you can only hold on it for a little while. Hold on to it for a little while. So it's just one of those things with, like, I know it's a conventional, there's a conventional wisdom in what I say, but sometimes in real estate, there's certain things that are guaranteed. And one thing that's guaranteed is a train line in a city, in a neighborhood that white people are moving back into. The guarantee is that property is appreciating. Just had the Super Bowl here. World Cup is next. The Olympics are after that. And you see the property over there. Look, let me tell y'all something. Let's just go for the residential properties over there. Let's just go for that. Residential properties. Crenshaw and Hyde Park. Crenshaw, but no, I'm gonna go even closer. Right behind where the Marathon store is. That's Brynhurst. That's 59th, 60th, 61st, hence 6 O's. But Brynhurst and 60th is about 1,000 feet from the Marathon store. In 2000, I'm gonna give you the real estate. In 2000, a house over there cost about $170,000 in 2000. In 2005, a house over there cost $600,000. In 2010, after the market burst, the houses over there were back down to about $350 in 2012. For about a year period, those houses were back down from between $350 and $450. In 2016, those houses were about $700,000. In 2020, those houses were about $1 million. 2022, where we are now, they're going for $1.1 to $1.2 million. And we're talking houses that are about 1,200 square feet, 3-bedroom, 1.5, sometimes 2-bath, and a garage space. Those going for about $1.2 million now. That's what's going on with the real estate about 1,000 feet from the Marathon store. What's up, Ebony? That was a dope story I saw on your timeline, Ebony, about you in school. That was some dope shit, man. Salute to you. But yeah, you're gonna pay about $1.2 million to live in a 1,100 square foot house right by the Marathon store right now. And that's what's going on over there. That's what's going on. 1.2. Mind you, you could buy a house in Hancock Park right now for 1.9. That's the crazy part about it. The real estate that gets really expensive, they not really booming right now. Hancock Park, it's been about stable. It's been a steady rise, you know. You get a house between 1.9 and if you get into the deeper parts of Hancock Park, now $8 million, $9 million for those houses. Those houses are huge. 12 million, some of them are like 12 million. But Hancock Park, you're looking at an average of about $4 million for the bigger houses. The smaller houses are about 1.9, 2.3. You get a fair amount of, you can get a really good house in Hancock Park for 2.3, 2.1. But if you talk about a house in Hancock Park for $2.3 million, you're talking about a 6,000 square foot house on about a quarter of an acre. No, 0.15 acres. You know, so not small, but not big lot. Your $3 million houses are on about a half acre. You're talking about 9,000 square feet. But Crenshaw and Slauson, if you want to go up to a little bigger house, like further in Crenshaw, like Slauson and like Alviso. Alviso used to be the Mason-Dixon line between the rich niggas and the hood niggas. So if you want to go over to Alviso now, you're now talking about 1.5, 1.6. Mind you, Hancock Park, you can still get a house. That's where all the rich Jews live, Hancock Park, where the mayor's mansion is. It's about 5 miles from the Crenshaw district. His Hancock Park's about 5 miles from the Crenshaw district. You're talking about 1 point. So you're only talking a few $100,000 less to live in the Crenshaw district in 60s hood than you are to live in Hancock Park. Hancock Park is where old money is in LA. That's that Jewish old money. When Nat King Cole moved to Hancock Park, they put a bomb to his house and blew that motherfucker up. Luckily, he was on the road. So that's the difference. View Park, where the rich niggas live, View Park, Windsor Hills, Baldwin Hills, those houses are now the same price as Hancock Park, 2.3, 2.5, 1.7, 1.8. Ladera Heights, 1.9. Ladera Heights and Hancock Park are the same. Now, well known as Black Beverly Hills, Baldwin Vista, 2.2. And mind you, Baldwin Vista is right across. Remember that story I told you about the jungles? Baldwin Hills? The difference between Baldwin Hills and the jungles, literally, like if you're on that street, Hillcrest, you literally have a on that house, a $1.9 million house, and next to that $1.9 million house is a motherfucking apartment full of Section 8 niggas. And then the further you go down that block, you in the jungles. Where they filmed Training Day on Pinafore, you're talking about a half a mile from a house at the time was worth $1 million. Now that house is probably worth 2.5. About a half a mile from where they filmed Training Day. So, yeah. Where the black people, the part that was for us, the part that was for black people that had money, they pricing that out. And they charge them motherfuckers the same price what the old money Jews home is. Yeah. Yeah. Yep, Biz Martin. Yep. He says you moving out to Apple Valley. Fuck that. I am not moving out to Apple Valley. Hell no. To the no, no. I ain't moving to no Apple Valley. I ain't moving up to no Moreno Valley. I ain't moving out to no Antelope Valley. Nigga, I ain't moving to no San Fernando Valley. I ain't moving to the San Gabriel Valley. I am an LA nigga through and through. Shh. I cannot live on them outskirts. I ain't moving to no Chino, nigga, no Ontario, no Riverside. Nah. He said meth lands, yeah. Yeah, but the thing about, yeah, you're right, Quan, but the thing is, well, here's the funny thing about the Jays. Them niggas in the Jays, even when the Jays was popping, like hard, they never, never, never went up in the Baldwin Hills with that bullshit. Never. Never. They never went up in the Dons with that bullshit. Never. I mean, they wouldn't go in there fleecing houses, none of that. They respected. They respected the dudes up there with money. Same thing like where I grew up, like further down the hill. I grew up in between the jungles and the rodeo lanes, and in the houses. And in the houses, like we would see, it's funny, we lived right across the street from an apartment building that used to always be shootings and shit going on. The thing is, the bullshit that went on in that apartment building, that shit never touched us on our side. Like now, don't get me wrong, my house got shot up a few times, but that's because my neighbor was on some bullshit. But after that neighbor moved out, they stopped shooting. Like, it'll be a fuck ton of shootings, but 99% of them shootings would be pointed to the literally across the street. It's almost like here in LA, hood niggas, like, that's a big miscon. Hood niggas really did not fuck with people who weren't part of the game, not unless he was perpetrating. Like, that's why I always tell y'all, when you talking about LA hood politics, you can't listen to these niggas who live on the outskirts. You can't listen to these niggas who grew up in the valley. You can't listen to people who grew up in Pasadena, Altadena. They had their own different politics out there. They had something different going on out there. You can't listen to people who grew up in Pomona and fucking. You can only listen to niggas who grew up in Long Beach, Compton, Inglewood, and South Central LA. Those are the only ones who's gonna tell you the story the way it is. Long Beach, Compton, South Central, and Inglewood. If you listen to somebody from those areas, they'll tell you the truth. Nigga, if you was a square like me, nobody fucked with you. These niggas that be living on the outside of the town, the only thing that they heard was what happened on the news, and they got their cousin that lived down in the hood, and their cousin calling. But you know how it is when you talk to your cousin or your friend. People gonna put on extras. What really happened, one person got shot at because it was some bullshit. But when they tell you the story, man, the whole party got shot up. And these niggas is tripping out here. No, nigga. That nigga got shot up because he was fucking that nigga's girlfriend. That's what really happened. They be trying to sensationalize these stories. Like, I remember back in the day, they had this major theme on the news. This is probably like 2016, 2017. They were like, I don't know if y'all heard this from across the country, but they were like, oh, LA, there's a 40 days and 40 nights of killing. And it was this massive story that they were plastering. I even saw the shit on the New York Times. They were talking about LA gangs plan on killing 40 people in 40 days. I remember this shit because it's like 2016. They got this shit all on the news. I got people calling me who done moved out of LA or they live on the outskirts, and they're like, man, I hear it's wild down in LA. Y'all need to be careful. I know Pomona was active. All these areas were active, but they had their own politic. I'm not saying you can't listen to them about gang activity, because all these outlying areas had their own gang activity. Altadena had its own gang culture. Pasadena had its own gang culture. But those cultures were different than what was going on in LA. I'm saying those people can't speak to what was going on in LA. They can only speak to what was going on where they were. Because 100% of the time when I hear them talk about LA, they wrong. So what I'm saying is, it's a certain way that people in LA get down. And I lost my train of thought. God damn it. I lost what I was about to say. That's why I don't be looking at the chat room. You niggas be saying some shit that makes sense, you know? Y'all a dope ass chat room. Y'all be saying shit that makes sense, or something I feel I need to explain further. And then when I do that, I lose my train of thought. God damn it, Dwayne. I was talking about politics. This ain't no rehearsed show. All this shit off the top of my head. I don't write down what I want to talk about. I just come on here and talk to you niggas. Then y'all say something interesting, and I go. Street politics, yeah. So in LA, there's always been a respect thing between the squares and the gangsters. And if you stayed in a square space, you didn't deal with that whole gangster shit. You did not deal with that. Like I used to hoop at Rancho Cienega Park, and I would hoop at like then during the week. I would go down to Dorsey High School, and that's where I worked on my jump shot at Dorsey. And I would hoop at Rancho Cienega. And I remember back in 1989. This is back in the day when you was 8 years old. You could still walk down the street by yourself. I would go swimming down there at the pool, and I was like 8 and 9. And my dad, my parents, I walked by myself down there to go swimming and to go hoop. But they would tell us, like, them days when it was hot, they'd be like, hey, Dwan, I don't think y'all want to be out here right now, man. There's some shit going on in the hood. Just go home. And I'd be like, cool. And I go home, and I wouldn't come back out to hoop for like a month. I would just hoop in my backyard. I let the shit calm down. Then about a month later, everything good? Oh yeah, it's good. That's how it was growing up here. Like, and I'm talking 1989, 1993. This is the so-called worst time to be in LA. They wouldn't, you know what I mean? My dad always like would get respect. That's why I'm lucky to have a dad that everywhere he went, he got respect. Like we be riding, and we stop at the gas station. My dad would see the gangsters out there in their lowriders, and he would come up to him and man, you say some shit about the kind of rims that they had, and then hey man, you shouldn't park your car in the back like that, man. You want to make sure you park your shit in the front where the lights is, so people don't come and steal your shit. That's the kind of shit my dad would be telling them. It's like everywhere I went, I would see the way the most so-called cold-hearted gangsters when my dad walked in the room, and my dad wasn't no gangster. My dad just carried himself with respect. And my dad always got respect. We'd be at the park, when he be taking me up there to come watch my game, they always had respect for my dad. I never saw nobody in the hood disrespect my mother. When we go shopping, there'd be them hood niggas out there. They would never disrespect my mother. When I was on 58th and Broadway, in the bottom of the hood, you know what I mean? The gangster niggas, they would be in the back doing they shit. We'd be in the front playing, having a good time. They didn't fuck with us. Hell yeah, Dorsey swimming pool is my spot. Man, that's what I never got when they say black people can't swim. I never understood that shit. Cause at Dorsey Pool, niggas would be hitting that diving board. Man, I wish I had video from them days. Niggas be on that diving board at Dorsey Pool, be doing triple somersaults, and right before they hit the water, they throw up their sign. I ain't never seen so many bloods getting thrown up as niggas died in my life. Niggas be swan diving, throwing up BPS. They be like, nigga, that dive was beautiful, but nigga, is you about to kill me? Yeah, different time. Different time. But then, again, to go back to knowing yourself, man. Because I always knew I wasn't a gangster, and I was always fine with that. I always knew I wasn't a gangster, even though that was my environment, even though that's what the music was encouraging, even though that's who all the girls wanted to have sex with was the gangsters back then. I knew that wasn't me. He said it's an early version of the ATM movie. Nah, we not as dangerous as they make us out to be. We're not as violent as they make us out to be. We really aren't. We really aren't. We're really not that violent like that. Like the hood, if all that gangster talk, niggas talk, the hood always had a handful of shooters. The rest of them niggas just out there looking tough, acting tough. So there's only been like a handful of shooters. Everybody else just running their goddamn mouth. Everybody else just running their goddamn mouth. They are trying to make us more violent than we are. That's why we as a collective, it's important as we as black people that we know ourselves. Super important. Super important. That's what I was talking about on Twitter Spaces today. Shouts out to Jessie. I was in her Twitter space. And like talking about how do you stop your kids from being around the wrong people? And how do you stop this and stop that? Knowledge of self is how. Know yourself, know your lineage, know your history. And then use that and from there, you make that your responsibility to live out. Because when a child knows himself, the decisions from there take care of themselves. When a man or a woman knows you, when you know yourself, your decisions from there take care of themselves. But when you don't know yourself, you make bad decisions because you shortchange yourself on what you can do. And you let people sell you on shit that you don't need to be sold on. That's how it works. That is how it works. Y'all got anything else y'all want to ask? Because if not, I'm about to leave this motherfucker. But I meant to put Q&A on this shit too on the title. So I did want to see what y'all was talking about. Like checking in with y'all. Motherfucker. You see? Yeah, I'm about to get the fuck on out of here. I'm gonna holler at y'all pretty soon. And go to In Cincinnati Trades and get your readings. Breakthroughas.org. Get your readings. All right. Oh yeah. Also, the shop both In Cincinnati Trades and Hotepish is 15% off everything. That car's fast in the motherfucker. 15% off everything Product code July 4. Type in July 4, 15% off everything, free shipping on all orders over $75. Both the Hotepish shop and the Incense and Ashtray shop. 15% off from now through Monday. July 4th promo code. July 4. All right. I'll holler at y'all.